Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. Well, we are going to do a demo for you guys and let's do the review at the same time. I mean, there's really no need to go weeks on end. Anyway, so we have the Fishman NeoD Humbucking pickup for acoustic guitars. Creates a warm and full humbucking sound, according to the box. And it does fit in holes as small as 3 7/8. And you do need to mount this sucker as close as you can to the bridge because that's where your action is the highest and gives you the best clearance. Because if you move it toward the neck, of course, this is going to create a problem. The strings are going to be way too close and you're just going to smash into the pickup all the time and twang your strings off of it. So, something to be aware of. It does have to go as close to the bridge as possible. Okay? And it is... it's got a little clamp, so you're going to need a Phillips or Starhead screwdriver that fits the screw heads properly. Don't over crank, by the way. You don't have to tighten them up very hard for this thing to stay, okay? If you start tightening things too much, you could damage your guitar, so keep that in mind, okay? Anyways, so there is an annoyance to using sound hole pickups, whether it's a Fishman or a Dean Markley or whoever makes it, and that's, you've always got this cable that's going to hang out, so you got to kind of figure out where the best place is to put it. Now, I like to tuck it right underneath here and out of my way because I'm going to sit down and play, and hopefully that keeps it out of the way enough when you're strumming. So people go to these things when one of the following scenarios happens. One, your guitar never came with electronics and you really don't want to put them in, or it could also be that the electronics are too expensive to put in to the guitar, or you may not want to devalue your guitar by putting one in. You know, because you can devalue a guitar when you modify it depending on the modifications. And cutting into the wood in this case, yeah, that could kind of devalue it a little bit. But, you know, it is kind of to each their own. I mean, if you're looking at future selling points, the guitar is worth more in stock condition than it is modified, you know, in most cases. So this Gibson 00 does not come with electronics, obviously, or I wouldn't have had to buy this pickup. The other thing is people won't put electronics in if it's going to cost more than what the guitar is worth. Now, I'm pretty sure a $1,200 guitar like this is definitely worth putting in electronics pickup if you want that permanent installation, you want EQ control, or whatever features you want on those electronics. But if you're just somebody who just, you know, wants to use an acoustic pickup every once in a while because you need to, these things work fantastic, and there are other solutions out there as well. Even iRig has a little device that apparently works pretty good, although I really don't like it myself, but hey, you never know. I might actually give it a try, so I might rent one and see. But for now, I've got this thing. Now this is $116.99 in Canada. Got it at Long & McQuaid, where I get virtually all my gear from, including this new guitar that I got yesterday from them. Now, there is some things you got to know about these pickups, okay, with acoustic pickups. You have to have either a real acoustic amplifier, okay, which is a big thing, or you can use an electric guitar amp only if, and only if, you have either a pedal or a pedal board that has an acoustic preamp channel, okay. Now I'm running the Boss ME80 pedal board. It's a very basic board, but it has lots of features to it, and more than enough for what I'm going to be doing. So that's kind of another reason why I went back to the ME80 instead of the Glory Hog GT1000 that cost $1 million. This has an acoustic preamp in it. Now it also has another FX channel, which is also for EQing. So I'm running it as actually as an EQ to give it a little bit more boost, clean up the sound a little bit more, because Marshall amps, let's face it, they're a little on the trebly side. But anyways, so we're going to demo this thing for you guys, and then you can tell me in the comments what you think. Now, I am recording this on my DSLR camera so we get the best sound in the room, and of course the camera is right by the amp, so you should hear either little to none of this actual guitar itself. You're going to hear the sound coming from the amp. So, let's have a little bit of fun here. interesting trying to strum, especially around this cable. I actually have an idea that I think we're going to try real quick, because I think it might just help us out. So I'm going to take this cable and I'm going to feed it through. Now the advantage to this guitar is it has an extra sound hole, which you're not going to find on very many guitars out there. And I do like the extra sound hole because it does make a difference in the sound of the guitar, but it also makes a difference to you as the player. You actually get to hear things for what they really are. So this is kind of what we're doing here, alright? Now this should allow me to actually play the guitar much better without having to worry about running into anything. Wow, that's actually 100% better. Actually perfect. It really is. I'm like, that's sweet. So it doesn't interfere with the sound at all. It's just a little cable coming out. That's sweet. No more running into the cable. Alright, let's have a little bit of fun. Alright, what do you guys think? I actually like it and I love it now that I fed it through the hole up top. It's like, nice, no more interference, I love it! Alright, so, but that doesn't mean I'm going to leave it in here permanently either. Anyhow, maybe in time I may get electronics put into this thing. I really don't know. The one problem with that is going to be where am I going to put the friggin' preamp, because there's a hole here, right, where you normally would have it. So it would have to be mounted somewhere in this area, and it looks like we've got the room to do it, but it's going to have to be a small preamp. But, and this is just the guitar. definitely hear the difference now. Anyways, I've always had a thing for Fishman products. I mean, Fishman preamps and acoustic guitars, fantastic. Never had an issue. And some have more features than others, so you got to kind of pick and choose what you want for features, obviously. But if you can't afford or you can't justify it for any reason, whatever excuse you have for not having onboard electronics put into your guitar, definitely for 117 bucks Canadian, I mean way less than the US obviously, these NeoD pickups are very nice. Now I personally, I remember exactly what that pickup sounded like, and for the single coil version, you can go check it out for yourself on my channel. Please do so, because then you have a really good comparison between the two. Anyways, of course, the sound quality will be much better on this video because it's a DSLR. When it comes to the two pickups, I find that the Humbucker is so much nicer, you know, and I don't even have to crank my amp that high. You know, I've got the pedal board to control a little bit of extras. I can EQ things right at the board side to customize the sound of my guitar. It makes it very simple, so you can just leave bass, mid, and treble on your amp right at 12 and do everything down here on the floor, which works perfectly great. And if you do have an acoustic that has the sound hole here up top, you can feed the cable through and you have 100% no interference, you know, which is great, you know. But if in the case you don't, I did do a permanent install though on the one that's on my channel. What I did was I cut the cable back, I installed actually a jack somewhere down in this area, and then hardwired it in. This way I could leave the pickup in there all the time and then choose when I wanted to use the pickup or not. The nicer thing too about these kind of pickups is there's no battery required. Now there are some that do apparently, but the majority of the acoustic pickups that go in temporary don't use a battery, and this is one of them. No battery required, so you never worry about acid leaking from a battery. Oh my, I forgot, like the battery's been in there for 4 years and I haven't plugged in, right? That can cause a battery to leak by just being in there. It can happen. It has been known to happen. And that destroys your electronics too, which can be pretty pricey. So this way you always should, you know, check on your battery from time to time. Even in my acoustic that has a preamp here, I change the battery every couple of months, whether it needs it or not, because I also don't want to be on stage and all of a sudden my battery dies, right? This really gets embarrassing. I did have it happen once, but never again after that. So anyways, guys, that's the Fishman NeoD humbucking pickup. I think that as far as price goes, it is worth the money, okay? And I love the sound of the humbucker, definitely way more than that single coil one. But at the same time, we got to give this thing a star rating, right? So, out of a 5-er, which you'll never see 5 out of 5, I'm going to give this thing an easy 4.5, okay? Now, the cable is definitely something you have to figure out how you're going to work around it, okay? That's a given, all right? You know, if you can put up with it, you know, long enough to do whatever you're doing, and then you remove the pickup later, who cares, right? If you do want to do the permanent install, it is very easy. Cut the cable back to the length you need, add 6 inches, trust me, and drill the appropriate sized hole in the body, put your jack in. Jack costs you about $2, you know, and wire it in, and then you've got a permanent install. Then you never have to worry about it, okay? Don't over tighten these screws, okay? Very, very important not to do that. You can break stuff, okay? And other than that, I say it is definitely worth that star rating, and they do sound fantastic. And this is going through a Marshall electric guitar amp on top of that, like, you know, but you do have the acoustic preamp, which does alter the amplifier, so that makes a huge difference. And do remember, you do have to have an acoustic preamp pedal, or a pedal board with an acoustic preamp, or an actual acoustic amp in order to properly use any of these pickups, okay? Direct plug-in to an electric guitar amp, not going to go so well for you, okay? Anyways, in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. We do have more on this guitar because I still have to, you know, do some demos for it, and you know, also do a review on this thing myself. But I need to spend a little bit more time with this guitar before I do that. I'm totally new to the Gibson acoustic line of things, like I said in my video when I unboxed this thing, I've never really been a fan of the Gibsons until now. This thing, so far, I'm telling you, I really think it's an amazing instrument. And it actually is, you know, the more I look at it, the more it's reminded me of my old Martin. Because I had a Martin where, you know, it had the top, right, where there was no binding or anything. I can't even remember the model number of that. It's on my channel. Look up Martin guitar on my channel, and I've had a number of Martins, but it's one that's got a top like this, you know, so it's top wood, because the other one was a DRS-1, and I've had a few other Martins too, come to think of it, but I'm really liking this thing. This thing's really nice. Anyways, thanks so much. See ya.